Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardeners Corner program. A Friday feature here on TV Channel 10, located on Spectrum Channel 191, also on WKRX 96.7 FM. My name is Rob Hall. We welcome you into the program that's brought to you today by T.G. Brooks Company. Goings Auctioneering. They've got a big auction in Nashville tomorrow. We'll also tell you some information about the Southeastern Old Threshers reunion taking place at the Denton Farm Park in beautiful Denton, North Carolina. That will be June 30th through Tuesday, July 4th. And we'll also share some information with you from South Boston Memorials. We're glad to have you tuned in. Hope everybody is doing well. I'd like to make welcome today our guest from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service is Mr. Paul Westphal. Paul actually serves as the director for both Person and Granville counties. Good morning, Paul. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Rob. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing all right.
Doing all right. Glad to have you out. And, the Gardeners Corner program used to be all about horticultural issues. Mm-hmm. But since Carl Cantalupi retired, we have different agents from both Person and Granville counties coming in, and we talk about their area of knowledge. And it's been really good to touch on a lot of other issues that people may deal with and be faced with. And
we hope it's been good for folks to talk about a lot of different things, although you can talk forever in just horticultural topics.
Absolutely.
But the Extension Service does cover more than just horticulture. We do livestock work. We do a lot of crops work. Of course, 4-H program is one of our features, one of our flagships, they call it, I guess,
Right.
is one of the things. And then, of course, family and consumer sciences. And you've got a meeting or a class announcement there too, Rob, I believe, for family and consumer science.
That's right. And need to let you know that this Cook Smart, Eat Smart is going to be taking place next Thursday, June 29th, there at the County Office Building, 304 South Morgan Street,
Right.
from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. It's a cost of $10. Now, bear in mind, it's an all-day class, and Miss Jennifer Grable, who is the consumer science agent for the Extension Service, and it's actually, she is the family and consumer science agent. And Jennifer really works hard to try to help people with better ways of preparing healthy foods. She can also help you with shopping, getting more for your money.
Right.
And so if you would be interested in being part of this event, that is next Thursday, again, June 29th, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. It's Cook Smart, Eat Smart. Although you need to register by 5 o'clock today, so you need to contact Jennifer at the County Office Building, 336-599-1195, and you should go by today and pay your $10 fee. But they're going to be teaching people and helping people learn basic cooking techniques, such as roasting, unit pricing, food safety. Food safety is something, Paul, that should be, a big concern year round.
It is.
But during, summertime and family vacations, maybe sometimes food safety does not take the presence that it should.
Well, there's a lot of considerations there too. Of course, preserving food is getting more and more popular. Again, we went through a while where we just bought stuff and used it. But with the movement back towards more fresh vegetables and fresh produce, and people want to preserve their own, we're getting more and more questions about that. And by the way, if you need your pressure canner lid tested, the gauge, drop it off, and Jennifer will be happy to do that. But if you don't do it right, food safety is a big issue with preserving food. So that's why you want to make sure your pressure gauge is doing right, and make sure you follow the proper procedures for that. But the other thing is we like to cook out a lot, grill and do things outside, and we have to pay attention, make sure we don't leave our condiments out in the sun too long because things can happen. And of course, we don't want insects getting into it or on it or anything like that. But yes, food safety is a year-round concern. We don't want anyone running into any issues because they've consumed some food that got a little bacteria growing in it or something like that. So just follow those precautions. If you don't know what those precautions are, this Cook Smart, Eat Smart class is a good place to go to learn a lot of that.
Jennifer made me aware of something when she was on the show last week. Typically they say food is pretty much okay setting out for 2 hours.
Right.
But in the summertime, that 2 hours is decreased to 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
And, this Cook Smart, Eat Smart program, again, will be on Thursday, June 29th at the county office building. Mm-hmm. It's a cost of $10, but from what I gather, you will get to have lunch there with the foods that will be prepared. You will also receive a refrigerator thermometer, a food thermometer, and a pamphlet. So that $10 is a very, very minimal fee for everything that you will be receiving. So, not saying that people in this area don't know how to cook. We've got a lot of
good cooks around here.
But you can maybe learn some new recipes and new techniques. And everybody during the summertime is like to have quicker and easy meals.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But again, just contact Jennifer Grable, 336-599-1195, and if at all possible, be there and support that. And special thanks to Jennifer and all the other extension agents for doing what they do to help out, the general public. Right. Anybody that has a problem, you can approach the extension service, and they are there to help. And, their motto is empowering people, providing solutions.
That's right. And you mentioned we are headed towards the hottest part of our summer, Rob. And one thing I wanted to talk about today was water.
Well,
water is the most essential nutrient. Some people don't consider it a nutrient, but in my nutrition classes for livestock, it was considered a nutrient, believe it or not. But anyway, we're coming up to what's known as the dog days of summer.
That's right.
You've heard that term, haven't you?
I sure have, all my life.
Did you ever wonder where it came from?
I have wondered, but never knew exactly where the saying dog days of summer came from.
Well, according to what I've been able to find out, at least from the weather.com folks, they say that they were named by the ancient Romans, who said the dog days ran from July 1st through the second week of August. Now, this gets kind of weird, I guess, but the reason they did that, the Romans were really big into astronomy. And one of the constellations they looked at and liked to follow was Orion. That's pretty commonly one. Right. Everyone likes to pick that out. It's also known as the Hunter. Now, bear with me on this.
Okay.
One of the constellations near Orion is known as Canis Major, or one of Orion's hunting dogs. Does that make sense?
Well, a little bit.
A little bit. One of the stars in that constellation, Canis Major, is known as Sirius. That's the second brightest star that we can see from Earth without magnification. Of course, the sun's the brightest one. The Romans thought that during the summer, Sirius helped the sun create the hottest temperatures of the year, so they coined the phrase dog days. Since one of Orion's hunting dogs supposedly was helping bring the heat. So, anyway, that's enough of that. It gets pretty hot in the summertime, we know that, and with the increase in temperature, livestock needs to have plenty of water. And we don't want them to run short, because if they run short of water, they start losing weight, start losing milk production, start doing all sorts of things that we don't want them to do. We want them to stay healthy, we want them to gain weight, we want them to be able to produce milk to raise their offspring. So one of the best ways to do that, in addition to providing good forage and good food, they got to have fresh, clean water. Now, Rob, how much water do you think a beef cow that's nursing a calf can drink in a day?
I'm going to make a wild guess and say 15 gallons.
Well, they certainly can drink 15 gallons, but the answer is closer to 50 gallons.
Wow.
A cow can do that. Now, remember, a cow is a large ruminant animal. They've got 4 stomachs, and the largest stomach is the rumen. Ruminant, it all matches up. But a cow that is producing milk, can drink up to 50 gallons a day. On a
Never
hot day,
realized it was that much water.
that's cow's a big animal. They can hold a lot in that rumen. But farmers need to have a good, fresh supply of water. And most of the time, we recommend it come from a well. Some farmers do water out of a stream or a pond, but then that gets into water quality issues. So our recommendation nowadays is to, bring the water to the cows instead of letting the cows go stand in the pond or in the creek and do what cows do in the pond and water in the creek. So make sure it's available when they have a drink. If it's not possible, just try to be sure and water them frequently and during the day. But the best thing to do is make sure they got water in the trough whenever, and that's why you see all these hydrants out in pastures, that the cows can go over and get a drink whenever they want. But we do want to make sure those things get scrubbed out and cleaned every now and then, because algae will grow in them if it gets a little bit of light in there. And where algae grows, bacteria grows. So we want to make sure that the waters are cleaned every now and then. So that's a good idea. And talk about food safety before, I guess we can call this water safety, for water that's going to be consumed. So let's see, some other animals. A mature sheep can drink over 2 gallons of water a day. Sheep's a lot smaller than a cow. Mm-hmm. They are ruminant, but 2 gallons is quite a bit of water. A mature sow, especially if they're nursing a litter of pigs, will range from 2 to 7 gallons of water a day. Horses, how much do your horses drink, Rob?
Well, Paul, I'm just going to make a guess, and I'm going to still stick to my 15 gallons per day.
Well, you're pretty close on that one.
But I really don't know. We have our horses on an automatic waterer,
right?
And I've heard the pro side and I've heard the con side. Mm-hmm. The nice thing about an automatic waterer is whether it's a horse, cattle, sheep, whatever it is, they have fresh water available at any given time, whenever they want it. Now, I've heard some people say that they do not like automatic waterers for the reason they cannot tell how much water, their livestock is maybe drinking,
Right.
And a lot of people have that concern with horses because one problem, you want a horse to drink a lot of water because that helps out with, colic issues.
Sure.
It helps out some. But
keeps everything flowing.
That's exactly right. But honestly, we like to keep a salt block and a mineral block out for hours year round because that makes them want to drink more frequently and things like that. But Paul, one thing that I was going to say when you was talking about a cow that may be nursing a calf drinking that much water a day. Another thing, fruits and vegetables are about 90% water. So everything needs a good amount of fresh water. And I'm one, I don't know about you, but whenever I want to drink of water, I really like for that drink of water to be clean.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's a little bit cool, makes it even much
better.
More better.
And that's the nice thing about the automatic waters you're talking about is that usually they're insulated because in the wintertime we don't want them to freeze. So the insulation also helps keep it cooler in the summertime. against that hot water. But I'm with you, Rob. I think that a horse, a cow, or any type of animal when they want to drink, they need to be able to get it.
Right.
So that means keeping fresh water available at all times. But a horse, to get back to the answer to the question, they about 10 gallons a day.
About 10 a day
is what they normally drink, and I'm more concerned in making sure there's enough water available than to knowing exactly how much they're drinking.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
But another thing I recommend that farmers do is make sure that the well has got plenty of water available, and usually you got an idea from the health department or from the well driller that gives you an indication of what the flow is and what the capacity of the well is. But if it gets hot and dry, sometimes wells don't have enough water in them. So it's a good idea to have a backup plan ready, and just in case, we don't want our animals running out of water. Well, but what about our pets, Rob?
Well, pets they love fresh water.
Yep.
And I even know some people that have water bowls for their indoor pets.
Right.
And I know some people that will put a few ice cubes into the water bowl.
My wife likes to do that, put a few ice cubes in there. Yep.
But, Paul, when you talk about water consumption, in livestock, dogs and everything, we've got a little Jack Russell Terrier. I ride the golf cart around a lot, and it's got cup holders on it. Well, I have a cup that I keep on the golf cart for my dog.
Sure, yeah.
And he learned years and years ago that cup sitting in the cup holder is his. And now, whenever we're out doing something, he drinks a lot of water, and he will remind me if his cup needs water in it.
There you go.
And what I was going to say about, an automatic waterer, where we have ours hooked up for our horses, off of the same well, some water gets ran in some shape, form, or fashion off of that well on a daily basis. And so we know when the water is working elsewhere, it should be working in the waterer. Right. But one thing, and we did experience this back in the wintertime, the waterer that we use is insulated, but it does not have the heater in it.
Right.
And, when it gets down into the teens, that waterer will freeze. We've never had it to burst or anything.
Well, you're lucky.
You're right, but we've talked about it this year, going ahead and get the heater and stuff in it. So what we do in that case, we put out a water trough, and we've got a one of these electric tank heaters that we can put in a water trough to keep it from freezing. But just what I was building up to is our horses, they will let you know if that water is not working. And I know a lot of the automatic waterers out there, it has a ball in it where the cattle has to push down to get water. Yep. But now, when I describe this waterer that we have to you, you probably will know what it is. I really don't. But ours has 2 holes in it. And the odd thing about it, all the horses drink out of one side, but not the other. But in the waterer, it will hold about a double handful of water. But as the horses drink from it, it will kind of surge. A valve will open up, and it will refill. And now what we have experienced before, when water was not available, the horses will go out there to the watering stand, but they will kind of paw it like they're kicking it,
trying to jar it loose, trying to get that water to flow. Yep.
And so animals, they can't talk to you, but they have a way of communicating, saying, hey, something is just not exactly right.
We just have to pay attention.
That's exactly right.
Learn what those signs, what those signals are. So.
Well, whether you are a livestock owner, a dog owner, or a horse owner, or a vegetable gardener, you got to get out and you got to be around whatever it is that you're looking after.
That's correct.
And you got to learn a little characteristics. You got to kind of, just when you see them roaming around in the pasture, you just can't assume that they're okay. You got to look to make sure they got plenty of forage and or hay. You got to make sure that they've got water. And if you kind of try to stay on top of things, and it's the same way as your vegetable garden,
sure.
You're far ahead of the game.
That's right. And if you got livestock, your horses or cows, generally they will tell you when they're hungry or thirsty. That's for sure. Like cows will come up to the fence and just let you know by mooing at you.
That's right.
Loudly. So, but a lot of fun things. But as far as dogs, they usually about an ounce of water per pound of dog per day is one of our recommendations that comes off of. I got that from pets.webmd.com.
All right, they say that again, an ounce?
An ounce of water per pound of dog.
Okay.
So how much your dog
So
weigh?
if your dog weighs 20 pounds, he'll drink
20
about
ounces
20
of
ounces a day.
He needs at least that much.
Well,
If he's working hard, he's going to need more.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
a good idea. But I think sometimes, Paul, people sometimes don't think that if they're thirsty, nothing else
Right.
is. And that's so untrue.
That's right. And you have to consider also a dog doesn't have sweat glands. So one of the ways they dissipate heat is by panting a lot. And of course, if you've got a bigger dog, they'll drool and all sorts of fun things. But drinking some cool water also helps cool them down. So they'll drink water to cool down, and they'll sit there and pant and cool down. And also, and cats need their water too. I mean, they say about 2 ounces per pound of cat, if you will, that way. So I don't know why cats need more water than a dog, but to me, we've already answered the question about watering. Is to make sure there's water available at all times for them. When they need water, they need to be able to get it. And to me, that's the bottom line for it, Rob.
Well, animals are just like humans. And what I mean by that is whenever you're changing water sources for animals, and what I mean by that, we've got two places that we keep horses. One is with the automatic water. The other is they drink from a pond. It has a creek that drains into the pond. And I would like for us to have an automatic water at that place, but it's just not available. And we can tell whenever you transfer them from one pasture to the other, it takes them a few days to get adjusted to the new water source. And I'm sure it's some difference in the taste,
right?
But they have to get used to it, and people are the same way. Whenever you go into the store, you may be used to buying a certain brand of bottled water, and you may go in there one day and they may be out of that brand, and you buy another bottle, and you might say, well, I'm not enjoying this quite as much.
Yeah. Well, the same thing coming in. Say you're on a well out in the country. You're used to that water. You come into town and that water's been treated. It certainly tastes a lot different. You might not want to drink as much of it as you used to.
Well, Paul, a question for you, and I know that the Extension Service strongly encourages, whenever available, to have cattle drinking fresh water, not from a creek or a pond.
Right.
And I've heard that years ago that it used to be some more or less maybe funds that would help dig a well and install an automatic waterer to keep cattle and livestock from having to drink from streams and ponds.
Right. There is cost share money available through the Farm Service. Not Farm Service Agency, but the Natural Resource Conservation Service. NRCS is a lot easier to say. And the Soil Water Conservation District, they work together on those kind of programs. But
so some of that funding is still available.
It's cost share money. You have to go into the NRCS office and apply for it. They get a certain amount per year, and then, as far as I know, it's allocated on a first come, first served. I think they do some rankings as far as some criteria that needs to be met. But there is funds available, and they'll pay for I think around 60% of the cost of putting in a watering system. And the reason for that is to prevent livestock, cattle, sheep, horses, goats, whatever, from having to water out of surface water, from ponds or streams. And that's, to keep from building up bacteria, certain bacteria in the water, in surface water, and also to prevent nutrients from getting into the water. So, as you know, the Falls Lake nutrient abatement is a big deal in the southern part of Person County and across in the Falls Lake watershed. The Tar Pamlico, I hear, is going to be doing some revising some of their rules for some of the counties as along the Tar River, because I guess they just haven't seen hasn't been a lot of change down on the far end of the Tar River where it goes into the Sound, Pamlico
Right.
Sound down there. So the Division of Water Resources, I understand, is looking at revising some of those rules for some of us in that watershed. So I don't know what they're going to look like yet because they haven't released them. They're going to have like a 2-year study period and do the public input and all sorts of fun things. But we need to pay attention to that for sure. But that goes back to the NRCS and cost share funds. They do have those available for folks if they want to try and put a watering system in so that their livestock has clean, fresh water available so they don't have to go into the creek or the pond to get it.
Right. Well, I'm glad you answered that. And those of you that are listening, you may want to check into just that. But again, year round, everybody needs to have access to fresh water, and especially in the dog days of summer that we're quickly approaching to be in, you need to make sure that you have plenty of water for your livestock, and also if you are having people working on your farm and doing work for you, you need to always make sure that you have fresh water for them. And Paul, when you talk about automatic waterers, it is a ton of different types of watering mechanisms
Right.
out there for whatever it may be that you are wanting. And I know some people, and when you were talking about hogs earlier, years ago, when we used to have some hogs, we had them on an automatic
Sure.
waterer. And an automatic waterer for a swine it's not expensive at all.
No.
And we basically had a hydrant down at the hog pen, and we had a short hose running to the waterer, and the way that it worked, when the pigs wanted a drink of water, they would walk up and they would push a little valve in with
Right.
that snout, and the water would run into this little catch basin,
Right.
and they would drink it. And when they released the valve, the water would quit running. And people do not give animals credit, but animals are really smart. If you make it available to them, they typically can figure out what they have to do to get the water.
Right.
But I've always been a fan of self-waterers, and even with horses, and you probably could use some of the same things for cattle, but they have them to where you can hook a water hose to them and they can have fresh water. The only disadvantage of the two waterers that I'm talking about is in the wintertime you have to worry about it freezing up. So
Yeah, and there's way I believe in getting the simplest type of water so that we could have fewer problems to deal with. Sometimes floats get hung up or valves get stuck, but one of the ways for waters like you're talking about out in the pasture under a concrete apron, I've heard a lot of people say that rather than put a heater into it, if you just drill a 6 or 8 inch hole down about 3 feet under that water, there'll be enough ground heat coming up to keep the water from freezing unless it gets really extreme temperatures. Yeah. And I've heard people say they've had good luck with that, and that way you don't have to use energy to keep it from freezing up.
When we did install the automatic waterer that we have, I guess we dug down about 3 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it does good until
Yeah.
it gets down below about 15 degrees.
Yeah.
And then
You get
then it
down
will
in there,
freeze
all
up.
bets are off.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Mm-hmm.
hey, we need to get a word on for one of our sponsors, T.G. Brooks Company. Paul made mention if you ever need your pressure gauge tested on your pressure canner, the Cooperative Extension Service can test that for you, and it's a free test. But just to take it one step farther, if you have not replaced your canner gasket seal, you may ought to do so. At T.G. Brooks Company has a big selection of pressure cooker gaskets and seals. Let's take a trip down to T.G. Brooks Company.
What a terrific spring we have been enjoying. Now June and July are the months when we start to see the fruits of our spring labor in our yards and gardens. The planting season has been a good one, and you still have time to plant vegetables and flowers for a summer of beauty. So get on down there, and when the gardens come in, they have your canning jars in half pints, pints, quarts, half gallons, plus pressure cookers, pressure canners, bath canners, strainers, funnels, and most other canning supplies. It's also wide open lawn and garden time. T.G. Brooks Company has plenty of tomato plants, lots of them too. They have vegetable plants of all kinds, and garden seed and flowers ready to plant. T.G. Brooks has your irrigation supplies and your water hose and nozzles and sprinklers and all that you need during the drier weeks. Reseed your lawn with fresh seed, and they have the fertilizer and lime. They have sprayers, both tank and backpack, and if you need mulch, wow, do they have it in abundance, even the triple ground mulch. They have your insecticides for vegetables and fungicides. They have chemicals for your grass protection and bug protection too for home pest control. In fact, all of your garden and home chemical needs are at one spot. No matter if you are the homeowner or commercial landscaper, they take the time to give everybody the same courteous service. They can arrange delivery or pull in with your pickup truck, your trailer, your van. They'll load it up, those bagged products. When the day is done, nothing tops it off like a hand-cut ribeye steak cooked to your desired level on your grill, and they have them. They'll cut them to your thickness and likeness. Also, top it off with ice cream, homemade ice cream with the famous white mountain ice cream freezers that they have for you. Serving you since way back in 1936. T.G. Brooks Company welcomes from people all over Person County, Rougemont, and northern Durham, and of course, southern Person County.
All righty, here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Our special guest today is Mr. Paul Westphal. Paul is the director for both Person and Granville Counties Cooperative Extension Service, and we have been joined by another special guest. And Paul, if you would, I will let you do the formal introductions of this young lady.
I will be happy to, Rob. I'm happy to introduce to our radio/television audience Michele Farris. Michele is our 4-H agent here in Person County. She started on June 5th, and we are so very, very glad to have you on board with us, Michele. So, how about tell us a little about yourself?
Well, my name is Michele, as Paul said. I graduated from Virginia Tech in May of 2015 with a degree in agricultural sciences and a double minor in animal science and agribusiness. I am from Virginia, so North Carolina is new to me, but I'm enjoying every second of it, and I'm looking forward to working with the youth in Person County and working with the 4-H program.
Well, Michele, we welcome you and want to wish you the very best. And, you know, we're very proud that the Extension Service supports 4-H the way that they do. And for some of our listeners, the reason that the Extension Service had to hire a new 4-H agent for Person County, Miss Beth Davis, who used to be the 4-H agent, left the Extension Service, and now she is with us here at the radio station. And, you know, 4-H is, you know, and I kind of say this every time I talk about 4-H, but I remember the first time that I interviewed Beth here on the Gardener's Corner program, and I was really surprised all the things that 4-H has involved with it. And as Beth was leaving that day, Michelle, I said something. Beth, I'm really surprised how large 4-H is. And she said, yeah, Rob, she said, we're more than cooking and cows. So I thought that was kind of funny. Michelle, now, just to kind of put you on the spot with your education and things, have you ever worked with 4-H before and maybe or the FFA?
I was the FFA advisor for a middle school in Mecklenburg County, Virginia for a year and a half. And I did 4-H growing up as a kid. But I have experience working with FFA, and don't have any experience working with 4-H other than my internships that I did back at home. But I'm looking forward to learning and doing the best I can and using what I know from FFA and my internships to.
Well, we know you will do a good job, and again, congratulations. If you would, tell us about some of the things that's going on with 4-H in Person County right now.
Well, this summer we have our Summer Fun program. We have, I believe, 8 classes that kids from the ages of 5 years old to 18 years old can join. We have everything from a farm tour to a cooking class, or just to a regular old day camp for our Clover Bud kids, which is our 5 to 8 year olds. I think there's something that we're offering that just about everybody should enjoy. Registration for that's due by June 30th, which is the following Friday. And you can get your registration forms online off the Facebook page, or you can get it off the Person County website. And you just bring it into the office and I'll sign you up. And classes are actually quickly filling up, but we still have some room, so we hope that y'all can come out and join us and make it a fun summer.
And you could also contact Michelle by calling 336-599-1195. We're going to take a break. We need to get a word on for Denton Farm Park. They've got the Southeastern Old Threshers reunion coming up Friday, June 30th, running through Tuesday, July 4th. Here's more information.
Bill Clemens RV World presents the 47th Annual Southeast Old Threshers Reunion, June 30th through July 4th at Denton Farm Park, the largest steam, gas, and antique farm machinery show in the Southeast. Thousands of tractors, equipment, and demonstrations and events, all topped off with the best food and music ever. Antique tractor pulls, draft horse pulls, old-timey crafts and classes, live stage shows with Sweet Potato Pie, Dina Carter, Flint Hill, 3 gospel groups on Sunday, the Malpas Brothers, 3 Jack Jenny, and Bucky Covington, plus Thresher's Queen Pageant on Friday. Antique consignment auction on Saturday. Ride the handy-dandy railroad and enjoy the cowboy show, plus plenty of vendors and helicopter rides. Military discounts, we honor our troops. And don't miss the fireworks on the 4th at 9 p.m. It's the Southeast Old Threshers Reunion, June 30th through July 4th, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. Denton Farm Park, 1072 Cranford Road, Denton, North Carolina. Go to DentonFarmPark.com.
All right, here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Rob Hall is my name. We just heard a word from the Southeastern Old Threshers reunion. A little earlier, we told you about T.G. Brooks Company. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll get a word on for Goings Auctioneering. They've got a big auction down in Nashville, North Carolina tomorrow. If you are a fan of blacksmithing and yesteryear items, you need to check it out because they've got stuff from back in the 1930s. And you know, it used to be, Paul, years ago, in every little community, you had a local blacksmith, right, and he done everything from shoeing your horses to making things. Right. And we'll also get a word on for South Boston Memorials. Paul Westphal is our guest today, and also the new 4-H agent for Person County, Michele Farris. We're glad to have her here. But since I made mention of Goings Auctioneering, let's go ahead and get a word on for them, and we'll be back and we'll talk a little bit more with Michele. Mr. Greg Goings of Goings Auctioneering, NCAL 390, announces the auction sale of Mr. I.T. Valentine Sr.'s blacksmith shop from the 1930s to be held Saturday, June 24th at 10 a.m. The address of this auction, 310 Bodie Street in Nashville, North Carolina. Please note, this auction sale will be held rain or shine. No buyer's premium will be charged. For terms, photographs, and more information of items to be auctioned on Saturday, June 24th at 10 a.m., log on to GoingsAuctionsInc.com or call Greg Goings at 252-578-1623. It's the complete blacksmith shop from the 1930s, owned and operated by Mr. I.T. Valentine Sr. of Nashville, North Carolina. Some of the tools and equipment was purchased from the original Nashville blacksmith shop in the 1920s. Lots of nice and interesting pieces available on this auction. If you are an antique lover and like old vintage items, don't miss this auction sale to be held at the Old Valentine Home Place in Nashville, North Carolina, located 310 Bodie Street. The sale date again, Saturday, June 24th at 10 a.m. Log on to GoingsAuctionsInc.com or call Greg Goings for more information at 252-578-1623. For terms, photographs, and more information, log on to GoingsAuctionsInc.com or call Greg Goings at 252-578-1623. All righty, here we are back on the Garden Corner program. Michele Farris, the new 4-H agent for Person County. Michele, if you would, tell us one more time about the summertime fun with 4-H of Person County.
We have summertime fun. Our first class is July 5th. We're going to the animal shelter to interact with the dogs and the cats that are at the shelter. Registration for this ends on June 30th. If you want more information, you can contact me at the office, or you can look on our Facebook page, it's Person County 4-H, or you can go on to the North Carolina Cooperative Extension website and find the Person County Center. I have programs up until mid-August, and there's still room in all of my classes, but they're filling up quickly. But I'd like to have them full, but so.
Well, you know, it would be a wonderful opportunity to get that youngster of yours involved, and 4-H can handle 5-year-olds up to 18. Is that correct, Michele?
Yes, sir.
So that's a wide spectrum, and you know, if you get your child involved in 4-H, it will be something that will help teach him responsibility. And also, one nice thing about being involved in 4-H, they learn to work with others on different projects, and that's something that they could use throughout their adult life.
That's
and,
right.
and through their entire life, pretty much, Paul, wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. A lot of skills you learn in 4-H and working with a project, and it doesn't matter if it's an agricultural project, it can be a science project, a technology project. A lot of the kids like to work with engineering things and get their hands in there and, you know, work with robots and, you know, rockets, all sorts of things. 4-H, as you said, is not just about agriculture. It's not just about what used to be home economics. It's about what interests the kid, what interests the young person. There's resources to explore just about any field of study that we can get and gain through 4-H and get those out to the parents, to the children. And then there's all sorts of things you can tell about this. You can educate others. You know, you can through demonstrations you can get up and present to people, so that helps build self-confidence. And certainly I've heard more than one 4-H member say that after they became adults, that the thing that helped enable them to be able to get up and speak in front of a crowd was participating in 4-H talks and demonstrations, at the club level, then at the county level, and then going up to the district, and then go to 4-H Congress and compete at the state level. So it helps build self-confidence, helps people learn how to research a topic, and then how to build a presentation, and then actually make that presentation. So it helps with career choices too.
Also, along with all that being said, 4-H in this area, they always have a big livestock show that takes place up in Hillsborough. It's typically in April, and it's really neat because 4-H also introduces a lot of children and young adults to things. If it wasn't for 4-H, they wouldn't have any idea about what all goes on in that particular, criteria or whatever it is that they're involved in. So we applaud 4-H and we appreciate the Cooperative Extension Service allowing 4-H to be a part of their program.
Appreciate that.
Let's get a word on right now for South Boston Memorials. They're located over in South Boston, Virginia. Friendly people there at South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. Visit the website sobomemorials.com.
South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia, has been in business since 1958. The Myers family of South Boston Memorials believe that every life has a story. For 4 generations, their life work has been to present and preserve that story for our prosperity to hear. Allow South Boston Memorials to tell yours. South Boston Memorials has granite memorials, markers, and mausoleums, over 300 in stock. In-house laser etching is available at South Boston Memorials, and they can also make pet markers. For memorial benches, vases, and monuments, call on South Boston Memorials at 434-572-3859 or visit their website sobomemorials.com. That's 434-572-3859. South Boston Memorials is located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. Like us on Facebook or visit the website sobomemorials.com.
All righty, here we are on the Gardeners Corner program. Today, Mr. Paul Westphal has been with us. He's the director of Person and Granville County's Cooperative Extension Service, and also Miss Michele Farris, the new 4-H agent for Person County. Paul, we got just a couple of minutes left, and again, let's remind them about this Cook Smart, Eat Smart
program. Yep, that's going to be on June 29th. That's a Thursday. It's an all-day deal, 9 to 4. It costs $10 to register. For your $10, you get classes all day long about basic cooking techniques, food preparation, unit pricing, of course, food safety. Everywhere from steaming to crock pots to roasting. So it's a full day of nutrition education, and understand to get some goodies to take home also, in addition to the food, like a refrigerator thermometer and some other things. So maybe a meat thermometer. I don't know if they're doing those for everybody, if they're giving them away as door prizes, but whatever, get your name in the pot and try to get one of those things to take home with you. But the Cook Smart, Eat Smart classes, the knowledge you gain from participating in that is certainly worth $10. Plus lunch is in there too.
That's right.
So, hey, that's a bargain. It sounds like to me.
But this class is next Thursday, but you need to register by today at 5 o'clock. 336-599-1195. And again, we can't stress it enough. With us having the hot weather that we've had, and we're going to be having hot weather on up until September, maybe on into September. just make sure that you have plenty of fresh water available to your pets and livestock. And also, if at all possible, make sure that whether it's your dogs or your livestock, that they have some way to get out of direct sunlight, have some type of shelter or shade. And the thing about it is, you can have it out there, and it's their choice whether they use it or not.
Right.
But have it there.
If it's not there, they don't have a choice.
That's right, and kind of leave that up to them, and you keep them with fresh water and good quality feeds, and this is for poultry producers and everything, because we all like fresh water, including livestock and our pets. With that, we're going to wrap it up. Special thanks to Michele Farris and Paul Westphal of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service being with us today. Thanks to our sponsors, South Boston Memorials, Goings Auctioneering, the Southeastern Old Threshers Reunion, and T.G. Brooks Company. Want to wish you and yours a happy and safe weekend, and we look forward to seeing you back next week for the Gardener's Corner program.